What is up, guys? So today we're going to talk about the Southport rat in prison. Now, I have spoke about this before, and people were saying in the comments, well, you know, when he gets there, the Muslims will protect him, the Muslims will look after him. I don't think that's the case, but that's what I'm going to talk about. And as always, it's just my opinion. You know, I've spent years in prison. I'm not proud of it, but it's part of my life. That's why I talk about it. I've been in Cat A prisons, I've been in open prisons, so it's an educated opinion, but it is just my opinion. So, let's get into it. Now, the Southport rat is a nonce. It's as simple as that. A nonce is anybody who's got dodgy charges, anything against women, children, you know, kiddie fiddlers. It's just really the stains on the underpants of society. So when a nonce comes into prison, straight away there's a target on his back. And this guy's got like a super target on his back. Because, you know, he's just randomly gone to town and started stabbing little children. I mean, that, for me, there's not a punishment big enough for that. You know, and you know, when I'm talking about it, I feel like I'm doing something wrong just talking about it. That's what the government have done. They've made everybody scared to talk about things what are happening because everybody knows the problem. Immigration, you know, they're coming over here, taking over everything. You know, people don't feel safe anymore. People don't recognise England anymore. I certainly don't. You know, I grew up in England and I used to be proud to be English, whereas now it's like you go to town in Doncaster, nobody speaks English anymore. They're all immigrants. There's smashed bottles on the floor. There's rubbish all up the streets, and it's a shame, you know, because it used to be a nice place to live. I mean, look at London. London is absolutely unrecognisable. When I was growing up, my uncle played for Arsenal. Alan Sunderland, his name, and we used to go to London and visit him, and we used to look forward to it. It was like a nice Victorian place, very expensive, but it was a good experience. We used to enjoy going there. Now, there's no way I'd go to London, you know, people getting stabbed, people getting shot. It's unbelievable. It's not safe. And I saw a video yesterday, and it spoke volumes, and all it was an immigrant, right, with his knife, you know, with his face covering on, flexing with his knife, a violent immigrant, and behind him was a little old lady, and she was sat on the chair, and she looked terrified. And that speaks volumes. You know, that's what's happening now. The dangerous, violent immigrants feel safe and secure and flexing and showing up. And the little old ladies, the old age pensioners, are all scared and worried. You know, they don't want to go out. I mean, she didn't want to sit there. You could see it in her face. She was terrified. But that's what the government are doing. You know, they're making sure all the immigrants are safe. And the good English people, you know, the old age pensioners, are all suffering so that they can make way for these illegal immigrants. And they're not even supposed to be here, half of them. But of course they come in, they're just throwing money at them, putting them up in hotels. It's absolutely crazy. And when they do out wrong, if they get caught stealing or violently stabbing people, I mean, you watch that 24 Hours in Police Custody. You know, I used to love watching that. And every episode, it's these crazy Rwandans running around with like 50 coats on with his stupid broccoli haircuts, stabbing people in the street over a £10 debt or something. I mean, who wants to live like that? I mean, let's have it right. Who's looking at England now, proud, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm English. This is ace. This is brilliant. I'm so glad we've let all these immigrants in." It's absolutely ruined the country. And instead of tackling the problem, the government are saying, no, there's no problem here. You're the problem. You know, you're the racist, far-right thug for being concerned, you know, because... And the one person that's actually stood up to do something about it is Tommy Morrison, and you can't even say his name. You know, I have to use a different name because you just get cancelled. If I put a video on TikTok, I've been banned on there, like shadow banned like 3 times now, and I put a video up about Tommy Morrison and it just said deleted for community guidelines. I'm like, what? I didn't say how bad, I was just talking about him and the current state of affairs, and they just deleted it. And every time I put a comment, they just delete the comment now. So you can't even say the names, you're just trying to silence everyone. And he's the one person that stood up against these dangerous Islamists, these dangerous immigrants. And look at what they're doing to him. He's in prison now for telling a lie, apparently. Since when do you go to prison for telling lies? I don't know. And he's getting treated worse than the guy who's going to town knifing children. If it wasn't so tragic, it'd just be comedy. But yeah, that's what's happening now. The government have created this huge problem of immigration, letting anybody in, ruining the country. You can't get in anywhere. You can't, nobody feels safe. And now if you mention it, if you talk about it, you feel like you're doing something wrong. They'll throw you in prison. Like they're running around. Like the one the other day killed someone in a hit and run. Got 2 years suspended sentence. But then you've got a middle-aged man shouting, "Send them back." 3 or 4 years in prison. It's a shame. It's disgusting, and it just gets me angry, But I can't do out about it. There is a petition going, which everybody knows it'll not do out, but it is putting pressure on them. It's showing them that we're not happy. But yeah, that's England now. It's on its arse, and this Southport rat in prison. People are saying that he'll get looked after by the Muslims. I don't think he will. I know when I was in prison, if a nonce came on the wing, or a suspected nonce, all the Donny lads would get together and they'd say, right, he's supposed to be a wrong 'un, we'll get him in the showers, you do this, and they'd come up with a plan, who's going to do him in, who's getting out soon so that they can do it, and then they can't get charged because they'll be out, that sort of thing. I'm sure it's all changed now. And if you help that guy, like if the Muslims were protecting him, then everybody would turn on the Muslims, Even like if there's someone who's banged himself up because he's a suspected wrong, because that's what they do. They'll try and blend it on the wing, and if it comes on top, they'll just bang themselves up and tell the screws, "Oh, I want to be on bang up," so no one can get to him. And say if somebody's walking past his cell and they'll go to the door and start talking to him, someone will be like, "Yeah, get away from that fucking door. He's a fucking wrong on him. You don't talk to him. Or else you'll get it," And then, I've seen it before, people getting beat up just for talking to wrong-uns. So, I can't see the Muslims protecting someone like that. Otherwise, they're just going to cause more problems and they're just going to get heat from everyone. Because he's a wrong-un, and it's as simple as that. But yeah, I don't think the Muslims will look after him. I think he'll probably be on the screws will look after him, the government will look after him, but the inmates won't. They'll probably have him isolated, they'll put him in a special cell, and they'll probably take him to the mosque or whatever he wants to do. I think they're obligated to an hour's exercise. When I was doing time, you were allowed an hour on the yard for fresh air, and I think they have to do that by law. But I don't know. But yeah, I don't think the Muslims will look after him. I think he'll be isolated, and every time he goes somewhere, he'll be escorted by the screws, and it'll be on sight with him. If anybody sees him, like even me, I'm not a fighter. I'm not into violence. I don't go searching for people in prison to beat up. But if I was in prison and I saw him, it'd be on sight. That's how disgusted I am. That's how disgusted everybody is. And for some reason, nobody's allowed to talk about it. Otherwise, you just get cancelled. But anyway, that's my opinion. I don't think the Muslims will look after him. I think if they did, then everybody else would turn on him. So he's going to have a very lonely, miserable existence. Just sat in a cell, windows blacked out. Just sat on his own day in, day out. And I sometimes think, what's going through his mind, Is he happy now? Is he like, oh yeah, buzzing, I did what I wanted to do, I killed, ruined countless lives, killed loads of kids, is he satisfied? Is he happy now? Is he sat down yeah, buzzing, I've done it? Things like this just blow my mind. I just don't understand it. I know if I had killed a kid, even by accident, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I'd be devastated. I wouldn't be able to cope. So how can somebody... I don't know, it just don't make sense to me. But anyway, that's my opinion. I don't think he'll get looked after. I think he'll have a very lonely, miserable existence. He'll be protected by the government. He'll be escorted everywhere he goes. But if anyone gets a chance to throw out at him, if anyone gets a chance to attack him, they probably will, because that's the way prison is. You know, that's against any kind of nonce, not just him. But yeah, that's my opinion. If you like this video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Fromage frais.